even getting to that, I think we got to get away from this mindset that a relationship is supposed to complete you. I think that's a misconception. I think that we all are searching for like this person, this love, right, that we're trying to find. And we feel that when we get it, oh man, that area in my life is gonna be now completed. No, that is a lie. You gotta come to the relationship already completed.
Impact. In fact, my hustle is intact. In fact, my hustle is intact. In fact, my hustle is intact. My muscle tough as the hustle, the numbers is just that. And I'ma keep winning and sit back. I love the feeling of killing them with that. Attacking the process, tackling topics, master synopsis. This the residual impact, yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your man, Brandon and
And your man, JaMichael Moore. And we are the Residual Impact Podcast.
Here we inspire others to find the greatness within themselves.
And then apply to the community.
Let's go.
Just like always.
Yes, sir. We back for another one. And another one. Yes, sir. Shout out to all you beautiful people that's tuned in right now to Residual Impact. We welcome you to another episode.
Shit, we got 13 colonies, so 13 minus 50. 13 minus 50, goddamn, 47.
47, what it do? 47? I don't know. That's about all I got.
Bruh.
47.
Hey, we already know how it goes, bro. So, first things first, shout out to each and every single one of y'all who are tapped in right now. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss when we upload a video. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up to let us know that you like the video. I'm not going to say what Mike always says. We're just going to bypass that. And then, and then don't forget to leave a comment. Please don't listen to him till later on in the episode. But don't forget to leave a comment because we definitely want to interact with each and every single one of y'all who are tapped into the video. And hey, it's definitely going to be an interactive episode today.
For sure.
And shout out to each and every single one of y'all who are tuned into the many podcast platforms that we are on. We greatly appreciate that. Please be sure to leave us a review on each respective platform if you haven't done so already. We're thankful for all the feedback we've gotten so far. I mean, we're steady growing.
Yep.
You know, TikTok numbers growing. YouTube numbers growing. You know, we getting.
Hey man, just keep going, bro. Come on, man. That was your hype man, bro.
We getting up there. Just know that. Like, I don't know what he's on today, but I guess it's residual from Thanksgiving. That man hyped up over the leftovers because
beans, greens. Didn't have beans, but it did have greens.
Man, we had it all. So we definitely had beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, yams, all of that.
Yeah, man.
So with that being said, man, how was your week?
Well, hey, the previous week, like you said, it was Thanksgiving, so pretty much ate and I worked. So I ate the first half of the day and then went to work for the second half, which was pretty cool. I didn't realize that a lot of people want to go see movies on Thanksgiving. I thought they want to be with their family, but apparently not. They want to go see movies. Other than that, I ate good. I made sure that I did get a good workout in early in the morning, though. I was like, yo, since I'm gonna be eating like this, let me try to offset it and balance it out a little bit. But yeah, it was overall, it was really good. How about you?
That's what's up, man. Hey, real quick before I get into how my week was, did you have any yams this year?
Yeah. No, brother, come on. I don't want no yams. I don't want no yams. Hey, they were cooked. They were cooked, but I don't, me, I don't touch the yams.
Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy. Until I met you, man, I never met a black person who don't like yams.
Nah, I can't get with it. Now, granted, I have eaten them.
Yeah, right. I understand. And I don't want to get too far into this, because we went over this last year.
Yeah,
however, a lot of the viewers and listeners who are with us now, they might not have been with us last year.
That's true.
To hear our Thanksgiving episode last year. So, shout out to you guys once again. But my week was straight, full of a lot of work. Really trying to put in some overtime so I can get some holiday funds up. And You know what I'm saying? I had to figure out another way to get extra money on top of money that I'm already making.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's starting to get a little cold outside, so I had to buy, a ski mask, and
Okay.
it's Black Air Force One season.
Ladies
so
and gentlemen, this
you
is
already
where
know how that
y'all know
happens.
this is where the cap meter starts. We need a cap. We need a cap meter on the bottom, just going up as he keeps speaking.
Hey, I do have ski masks. I'm not gonna lie. I have several.
And I bet you got a pair of Black Forces, don't you?
I don't actually. I'm gonna have to order some because it is Black Forces season. I'm not gonna lie.
It's Black Forces.
It's black. It's Black Forces season. I'm gonna have to order a pair, but I don't have any all Black Forces in my collection. I have some Forces, but not all black.
That's funny, man.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sorry to interrupt, though. I continue.
Hey, it's all right, yo. I did slick interrupt you in your week, but it's all good. Yeah, man, that's all, yo. It's just been full of work, and of course, Thursday was Thanksgiving. I had a house full of guests, so I actually didn't get to work on last week's podcast episode that we were supposed to drop last week. So you guys are in for a treat this week. I mean, of course, as you're listening to this, the previous episode has already been dropped, so you guys will get hit with a double in the week. And I'm sorry that I was behind on the editing. It's just, man, we've just been so busy this week between work and setting up for the holidays. So
family.
It is what it is. Yeah, family,
Yeah.
essentially, man. I really thought about ducking off somewhere and just working on the episode because, that's just my focus. But Mike was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? You got to entertain the people. You got to entertain your guests. You got to be with your peoples. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
Facts.
what it is, what it is.
Facts, man. I mean, because, the work ain't going nowhere. That's one thing I learned. The work is always going to be there. Even though I was at work, I realized I'm like, the work is not going there. Because I had, for a short time, I had FaceTime my sister. I was FaceTiming my niece, actually, and then my sister picked up. And she was around all my family, and, it was just like a moment. I'm like, dang, like, I got to go to work. But, and they're all just having fun together and stuff like that. So, I ain't gonna lie, it made me wish I was kind of with them, versus going to work. Even though, got time and a half. I ain't complaining about that. But at the same time, too, it's like, family is just it's more important, honestly, than money. But
I dig that. And, hey, I mean, even if you didn't get to go to Alabama, we extended the invitation. You could have came over, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But you decided you wanted to be working like a I'm not even going to say like what. Y'all know what I'm thinking. Y'all know what I was about to say. But he decided to
I did. You're right.
put in them hours.
I did.
And he still wanted a plate on top of that. Like, that's not how it works, man.
Beans, greens, tomatoes.
If you want a plate, you got to be there. You got to make your own plate. I'm not making a plate for you
Yeah, man.
and setting it aside. Nah, because that'll be my plate for work the next day.
Look, man. How long? We need to talk about this. How long do you eat leftovers for? Like, what's the proper estimated time that you're supposed to eat leftovers for?
Me personally, I say until they're all gone.
See, I can't do that.
That's me. Like, listen.
That's the same stuff I want though. I'm like,
See,
till it's gone,
till it's gone.
bro. I'll be tired. That could be like a week or two.
But here's the thing, though. Like, so much food is cooked on Thanksgiving, especially at our house. We had a lot of food because we had a lot of people.
Right.
So, all right. Kind of going down the menu, and I'm going to get to my point in just a second, but kind of going down the menu, we had oxtail, we had turkey, we had fried chicken, right? And we had beef ribs. So that's 4 different kinds of meats, right? We had 2 different kinds of rice. We had jasmine rice. We had rice and peas with turkey in it. We had mac and cheese. We had cornbread dressing. So we had all of that. Like, those can be, a side, right? We also had yams. We had what else we had? We had collard greens. We had field peas. We had mixed vegetables. So we had different kind of vegetables. You know what I'm saying? So you can pair up different meals. Like, you can make different combinations of meals. And for like bread, we had croissants, we had cornbread, we had rolls from I forget, not Olive Garden, Cheesecake Factory. The brown rolls that you get at the Cheesecake Factory, you can buy those at the store. So we served those as well.
Yeah.
So we had different kinds of sides, different kinds of pairings, so many different combinations we can make for meals. So it's not like every single meal I'm just eating turkey, rice, greens, cornbread. Yeah. You're mixing it like we have so much left over. And even for the desserts, we had a ton of desserts.
I can see that.
Banana pudding, cheesecake, sweet potato pie, apple pie. Like we had pies on top of pies, and sweets and ice cream and treats. Like so much, man. So yeah, until it's gone. That's what I say.
I can't do it. After probably like the third time eating it, I'm tired of it. I can't stand it no more. So yeah, I have to pass on some plates or somebody, so it don't get wasted. But yeah, to each his own though.
Hey, to each his own. Different strokes for different folks. You know, I say that often. So
I can't do it, man. But you know, speaking of things that we can't do and we shouldn't be doing, you know, this week's news. We're gonna start it off. Are you familiar with the Chrisleys, my brother?
Yes, I am. Vaguely. Like, I don't really know them like that. I've never watched their show, but I know of them.
Right. Well, you know, they were in the news this week, and unfortunately for some unfortunate news, I will say. So if you're not familiar with Julie and Todd Chrisley, they have a show called The Chrisleys. And basically, it's just a show of, like, it's like a reality show of their lives. And they go around and just show different things that they do. And I guess the dad is like a realtor, the mom, she has different businesses and whatnot. You know, they're just a wealthy family, have a good time and laughs and stuff like that. Great show. But apparently they were in the news this week because Todd and Julie were sentenced and convicted on 8 counts of financial fraud and 2 counts of tax evasion and conspiracy to defraud the United States.
Oh! Somebody! Oh! He needs some milk!
They have been accused of trying to defraud community banks in Atlanta out of more than $30 million in fraudulent loans. Yes. While also failing to pay taxes, according to the U.S. Attorney Ryan K. Buchanan. And this is all from USA Today, by the way. And, you know, they had an interview with the daughter, who's 25 years old. She was just basically saying, you know, this is a really hard time right now for her and her family. She has to take custody of her little brother and her, it's technically her niece who lives with them as well, but she has to take custody of those two, which are 16 and 10 years old. And she was like, the best way she can explain it right now is, she was like, she's grieving the loss of her parents who are still alive. So, I mean, they've, you know, one was sentenced to, I believe, let me get this right. Todd, I believe, was sentenced to the longest amount of years.
I got it. So it looks like Todd Chrisley was sentenced to 12 years.
Okay, yeah.
And Julie Chrisley was sentenced to 7, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
There we go. That's a lot of time.
A lot of time.
And it's sad because, I mean, it's like, bro, you're making that much money. Like, they were pretty wealthy, bro. Yeah. And it's like, why not claim your taxes, or why try to defraud the government when you're bringing in so much money? You know, I don't know. I don't want to get in their business.
Yeah, I ain't with all of that. I mean, I don't know.
It's just unfortunate because the show, more so I would say, it really portrayed them as a family unit and loving. It just was a feel-good type of environment, and it made you, you know, happy about them. So to see this happen to them, it's like, man, what? It's like you don't want to hear stuff like that, man.
Right.
And like that's pretty serious. Like we're talking years. They ain't getting no 2 years, 1 year. Nah, bro, they got years. Like, dude, come on now.
It's like y'all ain't learned nothing from Wesley Snipes.
I guess not.
And that man only served 3 years.
I guess not. I mean, why would you want to avoid taxes? I guess if you're not bringing it, I don't know. I'm not anybody to try to break that down, but when you're into the $30 million like that, you know, you got a lot of eyes on you, so you just want to make sure that you do the right thing. But my prayers out to their family to hopefully that they can, you know, get through this time and find a common ground to really, man, stand strong, because I know that's pretty. It's not easy for the family right now, and I hope that a lesson is learned. But yeah, man, that's sad to hear, man.
Speaking of sad to hear, man, I know this wasn't on the docket, but I did see this briefly, and I just wanted to touch on it real quick. Singer and you know, famous actress, at least from like the 80s, Irene Cara. I don't know how many of you guys listening to us know of her, but Irene Cara, she was well known for the movie Flashdance and the movie Fame, the original Fame, not the remake, but she recently passed away at age 63. I saw that and I was just kind of shocked, but I was just, you know, just wanted to kind of put that out there, man. It's like, granted, I know she wasn't really relevant in today's news, or a lot of people our age don't really know her unless we've seen those movies.
Right.
Now, I've never seen Flashdance, but I have seen Fame, and everybody knows the song, I'm Gonna Live Forever, Baby Remember. That was Irene Cara.
Sounds very vaguely familiar, but I think I know what you're talking about.
So if y'all seen the movie Fame, yeah, that was like, y'all know that song, but I'm not a singer, so don't judge me on my singing. But, Remember My Name, that was Irene Cara.
How old was she again?
63.
Okay.
So, I mean, she lived somewhat, a full life, but
That's still young.
that's around my mother's age, yo. Like, I couldn't imagine losing my mom right now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's young.
So, praise to her family, too. Like, granted, this isn't a case with the Chrisleys to where, they are still living, like Savannah said, the daughter said, she's grieving to her parents that are still alive. Irene Cara's family is, really grieving her because they won't see her again. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Rest in peace to Irene Cara, and praise to her family, for real.
Most definitely, man. In some more lighter news, it's still heavy, but at the same time, too, it still has a positive side. This week, Takeoff's murder suspect, Little Cam Fifth. That's the name they had. I'm not sure what, if that's how it goes or whatever, but he was arrested on gun charges, and because he was a felon as well. And, this is still all alleged. Nothing has still been solved. But I think this guy, they clearly know something about this guy and his involvement in the situation. So I'm guessing that they're close to cracking the case. I do think that it's going to get solved and justice will be served. But, of course, we still lost, a good one.
Yeah, for real. And we never really touched on that story. And I don't want to take too much time on it because y'all all know what happened, unless you really, haven't really been paying attention to pop culture news. But, that was a tough loss. Like, when I woke up that morning and I saw it trending on Twitter, you were the first person I texted. And you had already seen it by that point. And it's just like, yo, really? Like, that's crazy.
Sad.
It's very sad, man. It's like this keeps happening in our community. But, we've talked about it in multiple episodes. And, we're going to continue talking about it, just not today. We have another episode planned where we're going to go into detail about, certain things when we have a guest who's coming on the show to speak about it. So, definitely prayers to Takeoff's family, prayers to Quavo, prayers to Offset too, man. Prayers to the whole Migos, the whole Quality Control fam, all of them. And just it's crazy, man. That's all I can really say about that. And in some other news, man, this is not really bright at all, man. This is also kind of heavy, but I definitely wanted to acknowledge something that happened last week that we didn't get to talk about in the previous episode, because literally the day after we recorded that episode, I found out this news. Actor Jason David Frank, the gentleman most commonly known for his portrayal of a character called Tommy Oliver on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, he sadly passed away last week. And according to TMZ, it was quote unquote self-deletion. And by that, you should know what we're trying to say, because we can't say the S word according to the YouTube algorithm, because we're not trying to get demonetized or flagged and have our video just not be able to be played in all countries. But just take with that what you will, man. Like I found that out on YouTube, and it was crazy, man. Yeah. First of all, when anybody takes their own life, that's sad in itself. But, somebody like this, I grew up on Power Rangers. I'm sure, Mike, you did too. I don't know if you really watched it, but I was like, definitely, I can say I was a hardcore fan. Mm-hmm. I was a huge Power Rangers fan. I still kind of am. Like, my text tone on my phone is the Power Rangers communicator. Now, I don't want to go into too further detail about that. If you know, right? But, growing up, watching all the TV series up until probably I was like 13 or 14. And this dude, he was in multiple iterations of Power Rangers, even after the original 1993 to 96 run. Mm-hmm. So he was in the game for a long time, and even attended a lot of like cons, like the conventions, Power Ranger conventions or Comic-Con or anything like that, like where he was invited or other Power Rangers were, like he was there.
Right.
I've seen, people who I follow on Instagram take pictures with him while he was alive, of course, and, post it from meeting him at certain comic conventions. And I was just like, man, like, I wish that I was able to do so because, like, I mean, shoot, like, even up until when I was in college, bro, like, I remember when the whole Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series was, like, on Netflix, I got my ex-girlfriend's Netflix account information just so I can watch Power Rangers.
This man's a diehard fan.
Diehard, like, I'm telling you, diehard fan. Like, I was, and when her mom, logged into the account and she was like, "Who's been watching Power Rangers?" and found out it was me, she just laughed at it. Like, I'm really that type of guy, man. Like, hey, listen, I can understand a lot of y'all say y'all want nerds. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff, and if y'all don't like that, y'all capping when you say you don't like nerds. I understand that. Y'all need to stop the cap. But, rest in peace to Jason David Frank, man. He leaves behind a wife and I believe 2 or 3 children. So, dude was young, 49 years old. So.
Sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah, we all grew up on Power Rangers, man. That's tough. That's a tough one, bro.
Very.
Prayers out to his family right now for strength.
For real. Now we're going to get into some more lighter news. Now this, doesn't involve anybody passing, of course, thank God. But we do want to talk about something that's been trending on Twitter for a long time. I mean, not really a long time. I would say probably like a week and a half to 2 weeks. And this is something we didn't touch on in the last episode, but I mean, it's still going on. So we just figured, why not bring it up just to see, what our thoughts were and kind of hear your thoughts below. So after you hear what we got to say, sound off in the comments, man. Let us know what y'all have to say about this. But the 2022 American Music Awards took place last week, and Chris Brown and Ciara were supposed to perform a tribute to Michael Jackson at the award ceremony for the 40th anniversary of the album Thriller. And shortly before the AMAs was recorded, their tribute was pulled. And I found this out on Twitter when Chris Brown shared a video of the rehearsals for, the performance. So, he and Ciara recorded some video footage of them dancing to Michael Jackson and doing like some choreographed sets. Mm-hmm. And I will say the choreography was pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Like, I would have loved to see this play out on stage. I'm not a fan of award shows. I don't really tune into award shows anymore like I used to, but I think this one would have been pretty dope. Especially since a lot of people compare Chris Brown's like style of dance to Michael Jackson. Like, you can see that he was definitely heavily influenced by Michael. Mm-hmm. And Ciara's a great dancer too. So I think this would have been pretty dope to see. But, the tribute was pulled last minute, and it was said that it was for reasons unknown. Now, TMZ reported on it briefly, and that was something I believe that they said. I know that was kind of floating around the internet, so, don't quote me on that. Don't really quote TMZ on that, but, it said that it was for reasons unknown. Now, at the American Music Awards, Chris Brown actually won in the category of Best Male R&B Artist. And I guess because, he wasn't performing at the awards, he didn't show up. He wasn't there. So Kelly Rowland was presenting the awards. She announced the awards, went through the nominations and everything. And then when he won, she decided to accept the award on his behalf. Mm-hmm. And when she decided to accept the award on his behalf, after, of course, announcing that he won, the crowd started booing. Because it was Chris, right? And we all know a good amount of Chris Brown's past. Like, I don't really pay attention to him or his music like that. Yeah. But we know a lot of the stuff that he's been into regarding trouble, especially with Rihanna. Right. However long ago that was. And then I think some other allegations shortly afterwards. I don't know all the allegations, but the audience started booing. So Kelly had to check them real quick. Mm-hmm. But shortly after she did that, she received a lot of backlash on Twitter for doing so. Mm-hmm. Now, TMZ caught up to her briefly afterwards and interviewed her and quickly, talked about what happened at the award ceremony and her thoughts on Chris Brown and stuff like that. And this is what she had to say.
I have to know your thoughts on people bullying Chris. Is it sad to see?
You know what? I believe that grace is very real
And we all need a dose of it. And before we point fingers at anybody, we should realize how grateful we are for every moment that we get, for even our own things that we have. I just think it's important to remember to be human. We are humans, and yeah.
Do you feel like he needs to? He needs to be forgiven for what he did. I mean,
you know what? We all need to be forgiven for anything that we could be doing, anything that we're thinking. We all come up short in some sort of way, and grace is real, and we are humans, and everybody deserves grace. Period. Have a good day, honey.
I know you too, but.
Now, like I said before, after she defended Chris, she got a lot of backlash on Twitter. Many people were trying to cancel her. Like, many people were trying to cancel her just for saying what she said about Chris. And it's like, really? Kelly's the most unproblematic, one of the most unproblematic celebrities out there. Just because she stood up for Chris, for people booing at an award ceremony.
I don't agree with the cancel culture thing.
I don't either, man. I don't.
It's not consistent. It's not, it just doesn't, to me, it's just like when you don't like something, oh, we need to just cancel that person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. But yeah, that's lame. You got to forgive people.
And that's what she was talking about. She was talking about how, grace should definitely be, awarded in this situation because we're all human. Yeah. And this, a lot of the things that people are booing Chris for and criticizing Chris for happened so long ago.
But the world, the world ain't gonna understand grace. When the world don't give you grace, why would they understand that? So
you're right.
I mean, yeah, I expect the world to do what the world gonna do, but I think that good-hearted people, they understand that and they'll forgive him. So whoever was booing, clearly they don't even give themselves grace. I believe so. I wouldn't even read too much in it, man. I mean, we all know what Chris Brown has done as far as what he's achieved, man. This dude, he definitely deserves his flowers and everything. And like you said, we all make mistakes. We all have done, trust me. I guarantee you, if you were under the same spotlight as Chris Brown, I guarantee you there have been some things in your life that if the cameras were on, people would look down upon you over, even though it happened years ago.
Right.
People will look down on you. So,
and we see it happen all the time. Like, look at a lot of these celebrities who might have tweeted some negative stuff before they were celebrities, whether they were teenagers or young adults in their early 20s.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden they're celebrities at ages 27, 28, 29, 30. And people are digging up their past from tweets that they might have put out in 2015, 2011, 2010.
Well, Kevin Hart was at least 40 years old when he got offered Oscars, and they dug up tweets from his past. And he's like, no, I'm not going to apologize. He apologized already, but he's like, I'm not going to apologize again for something I said years ago.
Right.
Come on now. So, yeah, bro. This whole cancel culture and people just holding on to the past and not letting go, then when they run even a part of the situation, like if anybody should ever be mad still, honestly, it's only Rihanna. Let's be honest.
And here's the thing, though. Even Rihanna has forgiven him.
You know what I'm saying?
Even Rihanna forgave him. You know what I'm saying? There were a few tweets that were going around, of course, from, a lot of celebrities, even not more than just tweets, right? Ciara has had stuff to say about, Chris Brown, but of course it was in a positive light. Even before the awards show, she had spoken about collaborating with Chris Brown again because she had done so in the past.
Right.
And she said that whatever collab that they did, they never shot a video for. But she was hoping to see, something else happen again. And all of a sudden, they're both given the green light to do a tribute to Michael at an award show. And then even shortly after that, Jordan Sparks had to, talk. Well, she didn't really have to talk to, who was interviewing her. But TMZ caught up to Jordan Sparks and asked her about Chris Brown and what Kelly Rowland said about Grace. And, Jordan Sparks even was defending Chris Brown. Of course, they had a collab years ago, No Air. Definitely a good song, a memorable song. I think she was a teenager when she recorded it, or maybe early 20s or whatever. But a lot of people were getting on her about it. Of course, the internet is going to internet. Talking about how she hasn't put out a hit in years and stuff like that. And, stuff whatever. It has nothing to do with anything. But like I said, man, the internet's going to internet. Many people have had plenty negative things to say about Chris. And a lot of people have, had great things to say about Chris. But with the negative stuff, yo, like, of course, it should go in one ear and out the other, especially, like you said, Mike, a lot of things that people do, if people go back far enough, they're going to be able to dig up your past. Like, you may have done something or said something that you regret.
Of course.
And that's always going to follow you. Yeah. Now, there was one person who I saw tweet about Chris Brown who I thought was very hypocritical, extremely hypocritical. And a lot of people on the internet thought so too. So I don't know if you know, Mike, but there is a former, for lack of better words, adult actress, I will say, former adult actress turned sportscaster, Mia Khalifa, who still, by the way, goes by her adult actress name because that's not her real name. She tweeted, "Can we stop pretending Chris Brown made a small oopsie one time when he is, in fact, a serial abuser?" And this is something that I think is very hypocritical coming from a person who really hates the fact that she was an adult actress in her earlier 20s or I think late teens, whenever she decided to do it. But she was at the top of that industry for a while. And I think she had only been doing adult scenes for like a year. And somebody commented under her tweet and said, "Same girl that invented hijab porn now wants to take the moral high ground." And that thing got 24.9 thousand likes and 1,197 retweets. And that person was right because, a hijab, I don't know if I mispronounced it earlier, so please, if I did mispronounce it, forgive me, because, I know what it is, but hijab. Hijab?
You might
okay.
pronounce right.
That's a religious piece, right? It's a religious piece to cover up a woman's, hair, part of her face. It's a part of modesty, right? And Mia Khalifa, her family is Muslim. And she came to the States from Lebanon and started to pursue an adult film career. And she did scenes, or at least one scene, in a religious piece and got so much flack for it that I believe her family disowned her or something like that. Like, they didn't really like what she was doing at all. And the whole Muslim community, they were, up in arms with what she was doing because that was very disrespectful. But when she decided to go from being an adult actress to going into the sports casting world, she wanted people to forget her past so badly. So badly. She did not want to be associated with the adult film industry. She, really shunned a lot of the producers who still wanted her to do scenes and stuff like that and still wanted her to film and, still use her videos that she shot in her earlier years. And she wanted nothing to do with her past. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, she's condemning somebody who's really trying to escape a past as well. So I don't know, what's your thoughts on that, Mike, but, just briefly, man, just touch on it real quick. Like, what do you think about that situation in general? What do you think about her comments or anybody like that? Like you said, people have a past and you're going to dig it up eventually, right?
I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I don't care. I don't care. I feel like we giving them more attention. It don't really matter at the end of the day. Like, let the man be. Bro, like, let his past be his past. I can't judge her. I can't judge him. Listen, I don't care. Like, let him forgive and move forward. I don't know anything about a serial abuser. I don't know anything about that. Clearly, that's all alleged. And also, when you're pointing fingers, like they say, you got 3 more pointing back at you, so you have to be careful. You just got to be careful, bro. So, listen, I don't know about her past and what she's done and stuff like that. Clearly, people are saying, as I'm reading some of these tweets as well, they're saying some of the same things you saying, be like, so how can you accuse somebody of something when you was in somewhat a similar situation, just a different thing, right? So, hey, it is what it is, man. I just think we should give Chris Brown, okay, he did what he did, but look, come on, man, he's a human being just like y'all, just like you all. He's a human being just like you all.
Most definitely, man.
Forgive, have grace.
And again, with people giving negative comments, you also have people giving positive comments. Like this young lady right here who tweeted out, if women like Kelly Rowland, Sierra, and even Rihanna have come out to speak good things about Chris Brown, to me, that means he's a good human being and not the monster y'all want so bad he to be.
Oh.
Those are her words. I mean, it's grammatically incorrect, but you get the point. She said a black man that made a mistake at 19 doesn't have to pay for it his whole life.
That's what they wanted to do, though.
And Chris is my age. We're the same age. We're only like a few months apart. So I'm 33. He's 33. This was something he did at 19. I barely remember what I did at 19, bro.
We did so much stupid stuff at 19. You got to think about that, bro. Like, we, as a man, I was listening to something the other day. Like, basically, a man has not even reached a form of like full adulthood until he hit 25 years old. So y'all are holding this man to like his actions, and he wasn't even considered a full-on adult. Now I'm not condoning what he did, but I'm also not condemning this man and saying like, yo, he can't never get right, or he's always gonna have to live by what he did, bro. No, bro. But that shows how we are in the world, dog. Like, we just harp on one thing. I think we see that too many times. Like, he's not the only entertainer, but there's so many entertainers, right, that have been stained by one thing that they've done. And it's just like, now that trumps over every good thing that they did.
Right.
And I don't think that that's fair. I don't.
As Future said, man.
It's an evil world we live in. But hey, I'm going to keep living and loving life.
Yeah, man. It's not fair, but I get it. I get the points that people are making, I guess. I just, yeah.
But Mike, you said it in a nutshell, man. Like, grace, number one, get a man grace. But then again, you don't expect the world to give him grace because they don't know grace. Mm-hmm. So, we'll just move away from that. But, moral of the story.
Yeah, I would say B, the moral of the story is before you sit here and bash these people who have made a mistake, ask yourself, like, would you want to be forgiven some stuff that you did in the past when you were younger? Or do you want to be held by that, and you have to carry that all your life? Think about that, because that's what you're doing to other people. So I live my life based off being treated how I want to be treated. If I don't want to be judged by my past, I'm not going to judge somebody else by their past and hold them by that standard. Nah, I don't want to live like that. So
right.
I don't know. Just think about that. I think that's a moral. That is one of the morals of the story.
I dig that, man. That's very moral of you.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Oh, man.
But in other news, this is some old news. So I don't really want to harp on the actual topic or the news itself for too long. But I kind of want to talk about the message behind the news. And I definitely wanted to bring this up today because we didn't talk about it in the last episode, even though this was a thing when we actually recorded the last episode. I just didn't have it in the notes. But I kind of wanted to hear your perspective as a married man, because I have my thoughts on this situation, but I'm not married yet, right? I haven't found my wife. I haven't proposed to anybody, whatever. Mm-hmm. But first things first, I kind of wanted to throw it out there. We know that, Tia Mowry and her soon-to-be ex-husband, I don't even know if the divorce is finalized yet, but I will say for right now, soon-to-be ex-husband or ex-husband, the gentleman that she was married to for 14 years, Corey Hardrick, right? They were together for years, and, we've heard Tia talk about how they've met. I think she was in a car and happened to see him at the bus stop, or she was walking and saw him at the bus stop, but she met the man at a bus stop, right?
Interesting.
And yeah, and they started kicking it from there.
Okay.
So many people were speculating that this divorce that Tia initiated, according to a lot of the news that's been floating around, so I will say allegedly that Tia has initiated. A lot of people were speculating that it had something to do with finances.
Okay.
And especially because, we all grew up watching Tia and her sister Tamara on the TV show Sister Sister, right? All the Disney movies or whatever that they've been in, like 17 Again. I remember both of them were on an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark in the early 90s. Yeah, you're probably too young for that, but it's okay.
No, I actually do that show. I remember that show, actually, surprisingly.
So, yeah, man, they were on that show. Like, they've been in the spotlight for years.
Yeah.
So we grew up watching them. We know about Tia and Tamara. But, we didn't really know about Corey until like probably about a decade and a half ago. Recently I've been told that he's been, in movies and TV shows lately. I haven't really been keeping up with, a lot of the newer movies or TV shows that are on the air right now or that have been put out. But supposedly he's been getting gigs.
Okay.
So people are, again, saying that finances were a huge role. Like, he wasn't making as much money as Tia, and for that, she probably was unhappy with the marriage, whatever. Again, that's all speculation. Neither one of us were there. Right. I'm guessing these people weren't there either. Only Tia and her husband or ex-husband know what's going on. Tia and Corey. Right. I will refer to him as Corey from the rest, from now on. Only Tia and Corey know what's going on. So now that that's out the way, the main thing I kind of wanted to cover was what Tia said in an interview with the Today Show. She said that her marriage was a success, and she kind of looked at it as like a high school or college curriculum, and really, talked about how she wasn't happy in the marriage. And, of course, this is not all verbatim. I'm just kind of going over the clip. Mike, you've seen the clip, and I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, y'all are tapped in. Y'all have seen or heard what's going on. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and insert a little bit of what she had to say right here.
My marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. So that's basically, how I'm looking at it now. And I feel like people when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, it's, are they happy?
So now that you guys have listened to what she had to say, I mean, it is what it is. Those are her thoughts. And we haven't really heard anything from Corey other than the fact that, he said that no cheating was involved. Because when initially the news came out that there was a divorce about to happen, so many people, not gonna lie, it was mostly women, jumped on Corey and said that it had to be cheating.
Right.
And that's not always the case. Because first and foremost, we know what, Mike?
Black men don't cheat.
That is a fact. So Corey did come out and say that there was no cheating involved.
Yes, sir.
And Tia had to come out and back him up on that because there was no cheating involved. So that shut down those rumors. Now, in all honesty, Mike, the reason why I wanted to bring this up again, because I wanted to hear your thoughts as a married man on this subject. Because with my views, and this is just my views, my opinion, maybe somebody else out there thinks like me, maybe not. But when I think of marriage, again, this is me personally, and this is probably why I'm not married yet. But when I think of marriage, I think about a lot of the vows that are taken with marriage. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Right? I can honestly say that I haven't seen too many examples of that, with the exception of my grandparents. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about marriage, they bring up their grandparents and stuff like that. I get it. The problems that our grandparents may have had back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, they may not be anything in comparison to what happened today, because even back then, a lot of women didn't really have the same rights that they have today. So they had no choice but to stay with their husbands, no matter what the husband may have done, whether he stepped out and had a baby outside the marriage or whether he was physically abusive. Like if you look at Ike and Tina Turner's situation, back when Tina was making music and when she first started making music, stuff like that. We know that, the circumstances that our grandparents went through are not the same as what a lot of married couples go through today. So I get that. I'm putting that out there. I understand that. So don't come at me in the comments talking reckless. However, again, when I think of marriage, I think of something as being very sacred. I think of the vows that are shared. I think of the commitment that you make not only to your partner, but I believe in God. So I believe that you're making the commitment not only to your partner, but of course to God, in front of God, among all of your people, family, friends, whomever, right? Why is it that so many people these days don't really take marriage seriously anymore? and this is just my opinion. This is what I'm processing in my head, what I'm putting in my head, right? And I just wanted to hear it from a married man's perspective. Like, Mike, do you think that, in a situation like this, to where Tia said that she was pretty much bowing out of the marriage because she wasn't happy anymore? Like, do you think that happiness is like the ultimate factor in a marriage? Do you think that if you're no longer like as happy as you once were before you got married, should you like bow out of the marriage? Like, should you be like, okay, well, this isn't working for me anymore. I've changed, or you've changed. We're two different people. Maybe we should distance ourselves. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't think that is like the ultimate factor. I do think that's an important factor, but something that I've learned along the way, happiness is an inside job. I think we make a mistake of expecting our partner to make us happy when in reality we are supposed to be happy on our own. Mm-hmm. I think that's first and foremost. I feel like she was very broad. I do feel like there is something a lot more deeper than what we don't understand as to why it happened and how it happened. I don't feel like she's going into in depth. I do understand what she means as far as how she says women, they lose themselves and they want to be givers. They just want to give all themselves, and in doing so, sometimes they lose who they are. I understand that. Yeah. I've seen that firsthand and how that can play a role. But I do think that you can't just base it off of happiness. I think that marriage is up and down. There's going to be good moments. There's going to be bad moments.
Right.
So yeah, I've noticed firsthand in how some women basically they feel like they just give so much. They give everything, and in return, sometimes I guess they don't feel. They kind of just lose their identity, and in doing so, it's like if they're not progressing to anything. It's almost like, well, why am I doing this? So it's like if you as the man, you doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, but yet at the same time, if one of those moments where, like I said, it's not always going to be like a happy moment.
Right.
If you don't have a sense of yourself, then you be like, man, I'm unhappy. And if, like I said, even though you're saying like be about the vows and everything, yes, if you're a moral person and you understand the values of God and you take your relationship with God serious, you can be like, yo, you know what? I'm a value those vows. But certain times, bro, when you're in situations, bro, sometimes them vows could be the last thing on your mind. You could think when you upset, you ain't really like, yo, God, you know what? I made a vow to you. Nah, bro, you pretty much upset with whatever you're upset about. And like you said, if you're well, like my mentor said, when your emotions are high, your thinking is low. And sometimes people will make a permanent decision off of a temporary emotion. So that's why you see a lot of divorces. People, they give up. Whatever that situation is in that moment is the biggest thing, and they don't care. They can't see anything past that, and they allow that thing to be it. And I think that's what leads to divorce. But in her instance, I don't think happiness is. I don't think that's it. Like as I'm just listening to her, that is not just it. I do think her happiness is important.
Right.
I don't think that's just the reason why they got a divorce, though. I feel like it's something more and deeper that both will have to hear it from them in depth to really know what it is.
Okay. And again, like I wanted to bring this up to hear your perspective, man. I wanted to learn something from a married man's perspective because I can only think about what I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not married, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do want to, I pray that when I do meet my wife or when I do attract my wife, whatever the case may be, like I want us to be on the same page, brother. I want us to both have an understanding that no matter what happens in our relationship, divorce is not an option. Mm-hmm. Black men don't cheat, first and foremost, so I'm not cheating. Mm-hmm. I would pray that she doesn't cheat on me. I'm not, I've never hit a woman in my life, even in the situation where I've been in where I could have gotten into a fight with somebody I was with. Fight never went down. I de-escalated that. So that's never going to happen. And at least with me, I'm not going to put my hands on a wife.
Right.
So that's out. And those are the two main things that I see for like grounds for divorce, in my opinion. That's just me. Infidelity and abuse. So other than that, I think, people should work things out.
Yeah, I agree too. But I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I agree too. I think that everybody should work everything out. But I also believe that how you handle anything is how you handle everything. So to me, I believe that if you're willing to be like, hey man, I'm tired of this, I can't do this no more. To me, that's how you'll handle something else. You'll be like, when it gets really tough, you'll be like, hey man, I'm tired of this. I can't do this no more.
Right.
And I think I do. Unfortunately, when you'll realize this when you become married, it's on us as men to lead. And I think that we have a real responsible job as far as we got to be stronger, because I feel like with women they're much more emotional. So sometimes you'll have an argument where they'll say something that really hurts, and it'll get to you, and you'll be like, you have one or two choices. You can either be petty and try to give them exactly what they gave you, or you can really take the higher road, which in return will honestly help your marriage continue to go. But that's hard sometimes, and I'm pretty sure some men fall victim to like, I'm gonna give her what she's been giving me, and I think that's where it's like we get confused about roles, because I feel like that's why we're not as emotional as women. We can just look past some stuff or be more direct and not have to go through certain things to feel or to get a point across, and I think that's where a mistake happens. So I think we have a more responsibility to be stronger than women, because I think that's, if you look up statistically, women are actually the ones who file for divorce more than anybody.
Yeah, it's the last time I looked at the statistics, it's like 70 to 80% of the time women are initiating the divorces.
Of course.
So I really don't like that, man. I don't like it at all. And
neither do I. I mean, bro. Listen, one or two parties is giving up. That's what I always tell my wife. Look, is if this thing don't work, it's because me or you have given up. We've stopped trying. That's the only way. No one else can make this not work but us. So it's just when you stop. And for me, I mean, I'm a type of person where I can't give up. I can't just be like, you know what, man, I tried everything I can. No, that's a lie. I don't even know everything that I can do. So how can I say I've tried everything I can?
Right.
I don't believe that. I believe that you give up. You live from the past. Everything that has happened in the past, you build that all up and you hold on to that, and you never let it go, and you never allow the person to recreate themselves or learn from that and then move forward. But I think that's what happens, why a lot of people divorce or don't make it, unfortunately. But you got to know the person too. A lot of people don't know these people before they get in a relationship, and you talked about that, like not vetting people and not really knowing who people are. That's where a lot of mistakes come from too. You don't really know who you are, or you don't know who you are, or you don't know really who they are.
And that's very key right there. And I'm glad you brought that up, because boy, I mean, I'm in a situation, right, or not really a situation, but I'm in a space right now to where I know who I am, but I'm still building myself into the man who I really want to be. And I know I'm not perfect now. I'm not going to be perfect when I become the man that I want to be.
All right.
But it's a process.
Yes, sir.
I wish I became this man years ago, but I guess I had to go through a lot more than I thought of, or a lot more than I knew. Like you said, I mean, how could you do everything when you don't know everything? Right? I had to go through a lot to get to a position to where it's like, okay, well, none of that stuff that I've done before has worked out, so let me try this way just so I can reach my full potential.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to, I know myself, but I'm learning more about the man who I want to be. And I hope and pray that the woman who God has sent to be my wife has not only, I mean, if she doesn't know herself yet, maybe she's working to find herself, so that way she knows herself. And then when we get together, if we haven't met already, if we met, let me know. All right. If you feel what I'm feeling, no, I'm just kidding.
Stop the cap.
But I hope and pray that the woman who is meant to be my wife knows herself, or is learning about herself, or learning more about herself, so that when she becomes the woman who she's meant to be, if she's not already that woman, by the time we get together, the only thing we need to do is learn each other.
That's it.
And really know each other.
That's
to the point to where it's like, yo, I like all of that in you. You like all of this in me. We can have a future together. This is what we need to do, how we need to get there. Let's do counseling together.
Yeah.
Premarital counseling, marriage counseling, whatever the case may be. We're not giving up, because the only way out of a marriage, to me, one of us got to go in the box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
That's just me right there.
I feel that. But I think before going into that, even getting to that, I think we got to get away from this mindset that a relationship is supposed to complete you. I think that's a misconception. I think that we all are searching for like this person, this love, right, that we're trying to find. And we feel that when we get it, oh man, that area in my life is gonna be now completed. No, that is a lie. You gotta come to the relationship already completed. You gotta be good. You gotta be whole by yourself. This is why I try to preach to young men and women just to get good at being by yourself. Get good at being alone. Be okay with being just you and get a relationship with God. Honestly, I'm being real because that's the love that you're really looking for. It's not really from another human. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really love from God. That's the true love you're looking for. A love from another human being, honestly, is just aiding you. That's all it should be. I live by this thing that God spoke to me a long time ago. He said, if you don't have more than enough, you have not accepted all that I have for you. And I say that to myself every day. When I feel like I'm not receiving something from my wife, God shows me that. It's like it pops up on my phone. Because it's like, whoa, my wife should not be the resource for my happiness or the resource from what I need. No, she can't. That's unfair.
Right.
To have her meet all of those expectations. And I think that's what's happening in some of these relationships. We're putting these expectations on the other partner to fulfill us when we don't even know how to fulfill ourselves in that way. So why would we put that expectation on that person? So I think you got to be good with yourself. You got to know how to be refilled on your own. That's why when she was like, I wasn't happy. Well, okay, I get it. But then what are you doing? It seems like now she's doing some of the work for herself to become happy, which is cool. But then, unfortunately, it seems like it had to happen at the expense of her relationship.
And, like, the relationship that her kids will now have with their dad. You know, like, in a situation like that, and this is something that I've heard a lot of other people say who've already spoken on this topic, but it's just like, in this situation, and of course, I don't know Tia. I don't know Corey.
Right.
I don't know their kids. I don't know their situation. But from the outside looking in, it seems like all she was focused on was herself in that moment. Her happiness, her happiness, her happiness.
Yeah.
That's it. Not what about the kids? Not what about Corey? Not what about the dynamic of my family? Right? Maybe she thought about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, from the outside looking in, that's what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know these people, but you know, I wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah,
and it, like you said, it does look like she's doing the work on herself. Like she does at least seem to be trying to put herself in a position to where she is happier than she has been before.
Yeah.
However, it's at the expense of her family and her marriage. And I personally don't get it. I hope and pray that I'm never put in a position to where I have to get it.
Yeah.
Because, again, with me, it's strictly till death do us part. And again, I'll even go back to the grandparents thing. Like, I know our grandparents' situation was not the best back in the day, and I can't speak for all of our grandparents. I can definitely speak for mine. But this is something that I've seen people talk about online before. You know, their grandfathers may have stepped out and had a baby on grandma. Their grandfather might have beat their grandmothers. We don't know, right? I don't think that was the case with my grandparents. And, you know, I talk to my mother and my uncle about it every once in a while. You know, they'll tell me, or they have told me growing up, that my grandparents didn't have the best marriage. But they said that things have changed when I was born. And I'm one of several grandchildren, but I am the oldest. So when I was born, things changed. And it was just crazy, I mean, because I didn't see my grandparents and how they were before I was born, obviously. But from what I remember, they had a loving marriage. Like, both of them together used to pick me up from preschool all the time. And when I was in elementary school, my grandmother used to pick me up from elementary school. She was waiting for me at the bus stop and then would take me home. Sometimes my grandfather would do it. And then there was one time my school bus got to the bus stop and there was an ambulance there. And my grandfather was standing there. And I'm like, what is granddad doing here? Where's grandma? I get off and he kind of tries to tell me what happened, you know, as best as he could, because I was in the first grade, so I didn't know. And the crazy thing about it is, again, before I even got off the bus, I remember some people, we saw a woman on a stretcher. Some people on the bus were like, whose mama is that? Whose mother is that? Come to find out that was my grandmother. She had a massive heart attack while waiting for me at the bus stop. And, of course, paramedics were called. My grandfather showed up. And my grandmother fought for her life for 9 years after that. I was in the first grade when that happened, and she passed away when I was like a few days before I turned 15. Mm-hmm. So she held on for about 10 years. And I remember, at least with my eyes, I saw that in sickness and in health part. Because my grandmother was bedridden for a good portion of my life. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was still there, no matter what. And even after she passed away in 2004, she passed away January 2004, my grandfather held on for his life until October 2004. And one of the last things that he said to me was, I want to go see my wife. I can't live without my wife. And I look at that as like, yo, they may not have had the best relationship before I was born, but that's what I saw with my grandparents. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. I want to get to a point to where I cannot live without my wife. I want my wife to be at the point to where she cannot live without me. And granted, of course, one of us is most likely going to go before the other. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually the husband that goes before the wife, and the wife continues to live on. If that's what happens, if that's in God's will, so be it. I want her to live, her best life and continue living and being there for the family if I pass away first, whatever. Mm-hmm. But the simple fact of the matter is that my grandparents were together till death did them part. And that's what I want for me and my future wife.
I feel that. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. Maybe some people don't have that example. So sometimes that's what helps too, keeping a marriage. So we don't also know what the home life of Tia or I don't know, what was the guy's name? Corey. Yeah, we don't know what their home life was prior to being married. We don't know what they had an example of them shown to as marriage. So that also plays a factor in when times get tough. How do you handle them? That's also another key factor. How do you handle tough times?
Right.
So before y'all get married, too, a piece of advice that a married man gave me that has been married for 20 plus years, he said, hey, the first 7 years are going to be tough. So if you ain't ready to even, people think it's all roses and stuff. He was like, nah, the first 7 years, he's like, you're going to have to remind yourself at times as to why you got married. And I'm telling you this as a married man, I've been through the honeymoon phase. We've been through the lovey-dovey phase. We've been through the ups and downs. Like, look, it's going to be peaks and valleys. And there are going to be moments that you're going to have to remind yourself, yo, why did I do this? Because it's going to be hard. Even though you took those vows. Yeah, those vows are great. But you're going to face some real moments because you're bettering yourself. You're two unperfect individuals coming together trying to make something work. I mean, come on now. You can't expect not to learn some stuff and have to go through some stuff and grow through stuff. So it's like, be prepared, man. Honestly, marriage is it's work, bro. It's not something that's easy. It's worth it, but it's work. It's work.
Two unperfect individuals. Mm-hmm. That kind of reminds me of that John Legend song, We're Just Ordinary People. I don't know, that just popped in my head, but we really are just ordinary people, man.
You are, man. And y'all got to continue to better yourselves, man. I think that's how you keep the relationship going. So I don't know what they were doing in their relationship, man, but I think if you continue to better yourselves individually, you're supposed to be able to come together, man, and to make something better in general. So I don't know what happened. I really don't. And I'm sad to hear that divorce. I hate about hearing divorce, but yeah.
Me too, man, for real.
But yeah, man.
Definitely prayers to the both of them. Prayers for their children, yo. Like, oh, man. I can only imagine what it's like for them, like growing up with both parents and now all of a sudden they're not really going to have both parents in the same house. But, we'll see what happens. Hopefully things work out for their family for real.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, I've seen things happen to where parents get divorced and then years later they remarry.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen.
I have to. Yeah.
If that's in God's will, if that's part of the plan and Tia works on herself, Corey continues to work on himself, whatever the case may be, maybe there might still be a spark there. Maybe they might be able to get back together. I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely prayers for the both of them for real.
absence does make the heart grow fonder. That's what they say.
But I have been absent from some of my exes, and I promise you it didn't make my heart grow fonder at all.
But sometimes it might not be yours. It might be theirs, though. They might have realized what they, they messed up or whatnot. So
makes sense.
Typically, that's probably how it works. Sometimes you don't miss something until you realize, or you don't know what you had until it's gone. Unfortunately. So
I dig that.
Yeah, man.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, man. Great message behind that, because I didn't really think that we were going to spend that much time on that topic, but great message, and I definitely can say that I've learned quite a bit from that. Hopefully, each and every single one of you guys who were tapped into this episode learned something from it too, because yeah. Take it from a married man. I mean, I wish we had a married woman here to kind of give her perspective on it as well, but we have guests coming soon, all right?
We do.
Promise you. We got guests coming soon. They're going to be in the building shortly, and we're going to be able to have these discussions from more than just our perspective, so stay tuned for that. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. What we got next for the people, Mike?
It's that time of the day where we go over the question that made y'all think and ponder upon life in which y'all were not thinking about before. So it's the question of the week.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And if I had to reword that, or if I had to say it again, I couldn't. And I think if you had to say it again, you couldn't.
we just have to rewind. That's about it. Oh, man.
But yeah, shout out to those of you who did answer the previous question of the week. And from the looks of it, it looks like it was only just one person. So shout out to you, one person.
Shout out to you.
With that being said, let's get into the previous question of the week, which was, what is something unique about you that sets you apart from others? Now, neither one of us answered that question in last week's episode. Do you have an answer ready for today?
Yeah, I guess I got some.
All right.
For me, it's simple. It's patience. I think patience sets me aside from a lot of people. I realized that a lot of people don't have. I think everybody has patience, but I don't think everybody works that muscle of patience. And I've learned that in situations, I have a lot more patience than maybe some other people have. So I think that's one of my unique qualities, because it also opened doors for me. It's not something that's just used to not get me into arguments or get me out of arguments, but it also it has created opportunities for me. So I would definitely say patience is one of mine.
Okay, I dig that.
Mm-hmm. What about you, brother?
Well, other than me being extraordinarily handsome,
bruh. Never mind. We're going to get to the answer. You know what? Don't even worry about it. That was good. That was good enough. This guy.
I mean, no need to toot my own horn, but in addition to that, I will say honestly that my ability to walk into a room and be able to speak to anybody, whether I have known them forever or not known them from a can of paint, I think that's one unique thing about me that can set me apart from a lot of people.
I see.
Because I know that so many people out there don't like to talk to strangers. And of course, that's one thing that we do learn as kids. Don't talk to strangers. And we carry that into adulthood. So when we're in a room full of strangers, we don't like to speak to people we don't know.
Right.
But people we don't know can help get us to people that we need to know. And vice versa.
Ooh.
You just never know, man. Like,
say that again, if you can remember it. That was that was just really good though. Like, I think it was somewhere in the lines I can't even. I don't even want to butcher it. I'm sorry.
So essentially, the people that you need to know may be on the other side of the people that you can get to know at that very moment.
Yes.
So whoever you introduce yourself to at that very moment could potentially connect you with the person that you might need at any given time. Like, you might need to take you to the next level, or vice versa. You may need to reach out to somebody who can in turn introduce somebody to you. Mm-hmm. And you might be the person to take that person to the next level.
That's
you
true.
Never know.
That is very true, man.
So I think that my ability to, just speak to anybody and just network with people, like that's something I'm very passionate about. I can talk to anybody. I'm not, shy like I once was. And yeah, man, I can definitely network and build connections with other people.
That's dope.
So
I definitely think that's definitely a skill that you have that sets you apart for real.
Word.
I feel that, brother, man. Well,
and I'm still very extraordinarily handsome.
All right, so now we're just gonna get into the answers, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, well,
haters gonna hate, people.
To go over
haters are gonna hate.
To go over the answer that we have from this week, man, from our fellow podcast friend. Y'all already know he probably got one rolled up right now. Right now. Oh, the Roll Up Podcast, man. Our man Sauce Brady. He said, I'm the same person in boiling water that I am in freezing ice. What in the world kind of analogy is this, brother? This man getting deep. I'm sorry, that was deep. I wasn't even ready for that.
Probably because, like you said, he had one rolled up.
He did have
that very moment when he answered this question, and he probably got one rolled up right now as we're reading this.
You ain't lying. Look, I gotta read it one more time because I gotta understand it. Okay, he said, "I'm the same person in boiling water that I am in freezing ice. Take pride in my ability to keep my composure when I'm fuming internally." Wow.
Bars.
Nah, facts. And we said, okay, we see you. And he said, I coined the name Sauce Brady for a reason.
Interesting.
Nah, facts. I feel that though, because that takes composure to be able to, like, when somebody trying to take you there, to be able to, like, yo, not allow them, that's a skill, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a skill. So yeah, thank you, Sauce Brady, for giving us that insight, man. We really appreciate that.
For real. So, again, man, we're grateful for the answers that we do receive. Shout out to the Roll Up Podcast for answering this question of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't just give you the answers from last week. We got to give you a question for this week.
Got to.
So, Mike, with that being said, brother, what is the new question of the week?
The new question for this week is, in 10 years' time, will you be proud of what you are doing now? That's kind of like a what do you say? It's like a directional question. Because once you give that answer, you should know, am I gonna be proud or not? So if you're not, hey, might need to make some adjustments.
Some changes, yeah. And I really like the fact that you came up with this question, or you found this question, because it definitely makes you think.
Yeah, it does, man.
Like you said, if you don't think you're gonna be proud of what you're doing 10 years from now, like, something needs to change right now. You may need to do something different so that the future you can be proud of what you're doing today.
I'm telling you, it starts today. For 10 years, from 10 years to now, it starts today. That's kind of crazy to think about.
So in 10 years, we'll be in the year 2032.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll be 43.
43.
Probably going to be in my third Ferrari by then.
You'll definitely have a couple Ferraris, nice house by then. Definitely we'll have a couple studios, I say.
Oh, yeah. And not just studios for us, but studios for the people.
Ooh, shoot, I wasn't even thinking that deep. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's talk that talk.
We're going to have studios for the people, because I know what it's like. We know what it's like to try to find a studio, an affordable studio.
Affordable, yeah.
To be able to record in. Because, like, when we first started, bro, how many studios did we go to try to, office spaces, studios to try to shop around and see where could we record?
OD expensive.
Bruh.
Yeah.
So, here's a little known fact. And, if Mike wants me to cut this out, I'll cut this part out. But if you guys have ever watched an episode of ours on YouTube, shout out to those of y'all who are still watching on YouTube, our intro, when we recorded that intro, we recorded it in a parking lot in front of an office building that we were shopping around at, right? Trying to find an office space to record out of.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, it was kind of expensive. We didn't end up recording in that episode. I mean, in that office space.
Yep.
But it's something that we're working up towards, because it was only the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a time to where we can get to the point to where we'll definitely record in that office building, or we'll get to the point to where our taste has changed.
Oh yeah,
it has matured, so that we might not even look into that office space. We'll have our eyes set somewhere else.
I think we'll end up having our own type of building to where we don't have to rent out. Well, we'll probably still rent out a building or like lease out a building, but it'll be like more control for us, I think, versus like how we had to be in there a certain time. Or if we leave, yo, B, you hold the door open for me real quick so I don't get locked out. Like, we ain't gonna have to worry about that type of stuff.
Okay.
I feel that. I definitely feel that.
So yeah, I believe my future self will certainly thank me for what I'm doing right now, this very moment.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. I love it. I mean, I guess we kind of give an answer now.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't really have an answer, but I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's what we were just doing. Kind of, honestly, we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay, so
you know what I mean?
So
like,
both of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just talking about you. You said I would have a nice house and I would have a couple Ferraris, but you didn't say you.
I mean, so. I think we just could assume like if you had a couple Ferraris, look, I don't give a damn. Look, I better have something. If not, I'll be like, B, let me borrow a key or something. Like that.
You know what? You got a point.
Oh man,
you got a point. Because I don't see myself. I mean, I am the brains behind this operation, but
hey, man, you actually are though.
I don't really see. But see, I didn't even think you were going to agree with that.
No, you are. I don't think a lot of this stuff. I mean, I once you give me some ideas, I like okay, I come off of that. But a lot of stuff you come up with like conceptually, I don't come up with all this stuff.
I dig that. See, so when we work out all the details, 75. 25.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we're gonna start to like conclude the show, ladies and gentlemen.
I think those are fair numbers.
We thank y'all for joining us on another great episode.
Okay,
of
70-30
podcast. This is episode 47, by the way.
80-20.
You already know the mantra by the end of the day.
Okay, all right. How about
where you are
65-35
is a residual outcome of the thoughts that you had.
65-35, that'll work.
All right. Once again, you always want to make sure that you love
70-30. That's it.
Everyone and
70-30.
Respect
That
everyone.
works.
Remember the patience thing I was talking about. This is
we already know because again, like I said, I'm the brains behind the operation, and the simple fact of the matter is that I'm gonna get more bread.
You have grace.
By the time I'm on 3 Ferraris, Mike will probably be on his first one.
Let me get up out of here, y'all. It's time to go. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have a house on the East Coast and the West Coast. Mike will just be having his first house built.
This guy. Oh man. Thank y'all for joining us.
See, I'm the visionary. This is all stuff that I've already imagined.
Thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate y'all. Till the next time. I think B's done for today. He doesn't really have no.
I never said that.
He haven't got no.
Once again, because I'm the brains of the operation, I'm going to make sure that. What's the next topic that I have on here? We had one more topic that we want to discuss.
We
right?
do. We do.
Yeah.
What is it?
The simple fact of the matter is, I'm getting 80%. You're getting 20%.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. By the end of it, I'm gonna be at 5%. Yo, look.
If that's what you want, Mike, we can make it happen.
See what I'm saying? I was about to call this man the N-word, but I forgot we was on the show. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta call it. Like,
we need some milk.
Yo,
okay.
Yo, we going up, but we get up out of here, y'all. All right.
Peace.
Oh man, peace out, y'all. Thank y'all.